Thank you very much. For those who just joined, we're just doing quick intros around the room, and then we'll get to a brief presentation I have, and then I'll open it up to Q&A. And I'm just going by the Zoom squares I see. So let's go on to Rich Mansfield next.
Hi, everyone. Let's see, my name's Rich Mansfield. I'm Koala Greavy's executive assistant. And I've been that for a few months now, and getting a feel of the scholarship program and how it's been going. And prior to doing this job, I worked at Micron Technology for 30 years. I was there for in the assembly engineering department, and ended up, started out as an operator and moved up to engineering manager, and then that's pretty much my background with that. So,
Right on, Rich. Thanks, man. Rich is also my cousin, my first cousin. So glad to be working with Rich. I'll be on paternity leave in a couple months, and we're trying to systemize the scholarship playbook so that it can run in my absence. So put some big stuff on Rich's plate, because this thing is turned into a little mini creation here. Okay, let's go on next to Kavehi.
Aloha, my name is Kavehi. I go to USC and I'm studying environmental science. I guess my career interests are in aquaculture and possibly research. I guess currently I'm working in a kelp lab on campus with the Wrigley Institute research. That's about it.
Hey, right on, Kavehi. Nice to see you. Oh, if I may ask one more thing for our recipients, if you could also share the high school you graduated from, starting with Kavehi.
Sure, yeah. So I graduated from Hawaii Preparatory Academy on Big Island.
Right on. Thanks, Kavehi. Let's go on to Taylor.
Hey, what's up, everyone? Mahalo, hoala for having me. I'm Taylor. I live in San Francisco now. I born and raised in Kailua on Oahu. I've been in this city for maybe 7 years or so now. My goal, of course, I think here in Kaipua, my goal is to get home. Trust me, I'm anchoring on that being my vision. My girlfriend and I both are we met each other at Kamehameha Schools. She works at Netflix, another tech industry person. But with all that said, happy to still be employed after the last couple of rounds of layoffs. But if there's any light at the end of that tunnel, it's I guess just my flexibility and coverage across the different types of things that I do, I think has helped keep me alive. Another thing I just want to mention real quick, I help organize the Hawaiians in Tech community, hawaiiansintech.org. We have over 200 kanaka that are in the IT and technical field. In part was inspired by this scholarship. I get to say that. Led me to giving a talk at JSConf, which eventually led to me kicking off the community with my co-founder, Komokani. But yeah, that's basically it for me. Super stoked to be here.
Right on, Taylor. Thank you. Let's go on to Carissa.
Hi, everybody. My name is Sharissa, and I graduated from Kamehameha Schools. This was before there was different campuses, so just Kapalama. I'm that old. And then I went on to University of Oregon for college. I've been in the IT and security space for over 20 years. Currently, I'm in charge of the IT and security at Bowers and Kubota Consulting. And I also started my own cybersecurity consulting business called Cyber Kia'i. Let's see what else. I'm the vice president of the ISC Squared Hawaii. I am the vice president of CIO Council and also a member of Cyber Hawaii. So if you're interested in any of that, let me know. And that's all.
Sure. So thank you. Thanks for joining. Let's go on to Luke. I don't exactly know who Luke is, so let's get an intro. Oh, there we go.
And I haven't used Zoom in forever, which leads me to the fact that I live in San Francisco. Douglas, for those of you guys who have met before, probably introduced myself, but in the middle of meetings right now, so I was off camera. But I work in strategy and operations. Specifically, I'm on the chief of staff team for our CPO at Google. Moved to San Francisco after graduating from Vanderbilt University about 3 years ago now. And prior to that, I was at Kahikina as well. Graduated in 2017. But yeah, short term, been working in tech for a while now. I started off as a data analyst / UX researcher, transitioned into a strategy strat ops role. And actually now I'm like ready to like exploring about what's next. I have a lot of passion for like air sustainability and want to move into that space in the long term. But great to meet everybody, and looking forward to keep chatting.
Hey, Doug, thanks for joining, man. Nice to see you again. Let's go to Rafe. Rafe, thanks for joining, man.
Yeah, nice to see you, Koala. Hey guys, I'm Rafe. Let's see. I was born and raised in Hawaii. Born and raised in Mililani. I went to Iolani. I went to USC for undergrad, did electroengineering there. Then I went to Stanford for grad school, also did electroengineering there. Worked as an engineer for a little bit, did some worked in consulting, and then for the last since 2015, so 8.5 years or so, I've been a venture capitalist. So I joined a firm called Canaan, started there as an associate, a partner there on the tech team, focused mainly on investing in early stage startups, enterprise software, enterprise infrastructure, and then I do a lot of the weird stuff, so like AI, robotics, space investments, all the fun things there. And let's see, I currently in our Menlo Park office in the Bay, but my wife and I just moved to LA like 2 months ago.
Oh,
Yeah, I don't think I told you that, Huala, but yeah. So you get to find out with everyone else. Yeah, moved there a couple months ago. So Kavehi, if you want to hang out, let me know. Can talk about USC. But yeah, I was in the Bay for about a dozen years before that.
right on, Rafe. Nice to see you, man.
Yeah.
Let's go on to another Iolani graduate, Taysa.
Hi, I'm Tasia. I'm at the University of Michigan right now. I'm studying chemical engineering. I'm in my junior year, and following graduation, I plan on applying to medical school. So I don't really plan on going into industry for more than just maybe like a couple of gap years. But that's my current plans for post-grad.
Thanks, Taysa. Thanks for joining us. Oh, Bo, nice to see you, man. You're up next.
Hey, how's it, Huala? Congratulations on the child, by the way.
Oh, thanks.
I'm Bo Monday. I'm the CISO at Punahou School. So I'm responsible for not only protecting the school from a cybersecurity perspective, but I'm also driving cybersecurity curriculum as much as I'm able. I'm also on the board of our local InfraGard chapter here in Hawaii, which is fairly active. Thanks for having me, Huala.
Right on, Bo. Thanks for joining, man. Nice to see you. Let's go on to Logan.
Hello, everyone. I'm Logan, 2022 graduate from Kamehameha Schools, Kapalama, sophomore now at Stanford, studying computer science, data science, same. Yeah, excited to be here, connect with everyone.
Right on, Logan. Thanks for joining. Let's go on to Noah, our wild card.
Hello, everyone. I'm a senior at Kamehameha Schools, Kapalama. I'll be attending Dartmouth College this fall, looking to study economics and computer science.
Right on, Noah. Nice to see you again. Let's go on to Koa.
Hello, everyone. My name is Koa. Graduated Kamehameha 2023, and I'm currently a freshman at Stanford studying computer science. Yeah, super interested to meet everyone.
Right on, Koa. Thanks for joining. Hey, Michael, long time no see. Thanks for joining.
Thank you. Thank you. Do you want me to do a quick intro?
Yes, please.
Awesome. Aloha, my name is Michael. I'm the co-founder of a company called OceanBit, which is working on turning ocean water into clean electricity for 1 billion people with ocean thermal energy conversion. I know Huala from the Bay Area. I spent a decade there working in VC-backed startups, and am also going to be organizing, or am organizing, Honolulu Tech Week, which will be this year from September 16th to 22nd. And will be the kind of the first and largest kind of tech week that has been done in Hawaii and Honolulu. So yeah, it's great to meet all of you, and Huala, thank you for putting this on.
Hey, thanks for joining, man. Appreciate it. And let's go on to Dean.
Hello, everyone. I'm Dean. I'm VP of Marketing here at Paubox, and it's kind of cool to be here since I've written or edited all the blog posts about all of you guys. So it's cool to meet many of you in person. I'm in Maine, not on the West Coast or the islands. So yeah, I've been involved in startups for many years as well, since around 2007. And yeah, I was stoked to hear about Paubox back when it first started. I saw the first executive page, whatever you call it, pitch, and I thought it was an awesome idea. I'm really excited to be working at Paubox after following it along for so many years.
Right on, Dean. Thanks for joining, man. Dean's also a very early angel investor in Paubox, so known Dean for quite a long time now. Okay, so I'm gonna do a quick presentation because one of the nice indicators of our scholarship, it keeps growing. So maybe not everyone knows what I'm about to present, but I think it'll provide good context on where we're at. So I'm just gonna share my screen here. I'm gonna go into slideshow mode. So I'm just gonna do a quick demographics around the Paubox Kahikina Scholarship. Once again, this is a scholarship to encourage Native Hawaiians to pursue careers in STEM, and now starting this year, also applying to just careers in technology in general. We started in 2019 with a single recipient, Nick Wong. Now we're up to 32 recipients. So this is the demographic on our 32 scholarship recipients. As you can see, it's roughly down the middle, but there are a few more women than men for the scholarship, which I think is pretty neat for a STEM scholarship. So that's where we are by gender. Then if we look at where these folks live, to me, this kind of lines up with the population density of Hawaii in general, but this is where we're at. So majority of our recipients did grow up on Oahu. There are now more Native Hawaiians living on the mainland than there are in Hawaii. I'm one of them. So far, we have not had any applicants, Hawaiians living on the mainland. So right now, it's just, that's where we're getting our deal flow from, kids in Hawaii. Okay, next slide, high school. Very strong representation from Kamehameha schools, Kapalama. And then Punahou is doing pretty well at 9%. Yeah, pretty self-explanatory there. So that's where the high school lines up. We seem to be getting pretty good word of mouth within KS, I would say. So that's what that means to me. We had a really strong class last year, mostly from Kamehameha schools. So yeah, that's where we line up as far as high schools attended. Actually, maybe I'll stop here. Any questions so far? All right, I'll go on to the next slide. And then here's a breakdown of the colleges. So if you look in the upper right quadrant, we've got about 25% of our recipients now in the Bay Area. This jumped up quite a bit thanks to the 2023 class, of which Logan and Koa are part of. So now Stanford leads the way as far as density. And we see Harvard does pretty well at 7% and Berkeley running number 2 at 10%. So that's where we're at there. Kavehi's part of that USC cohort there at 7% on the down about 4 o'clock on the time clock. So that's by college. And then tying it all together, the prototypical Paubox Kahikina Scholarship recipient went to a private school on Oahu, is Wahine, and is attending college on the mainland. Tasha is one of them. And here's another one. This is Alyssa Lyman. She recently graduated from Purdue. We caught up over lunch in January, and it was her idea to kind of get these Zoom social mixers going again so that we can network our recipients with the advisor class, aside from our winter networking event. So that's kind of tying it all together while we're here today. And just happy to answer any questions so far before we open it up to Q&A. Okay, great. Let's hop into Q&A. Who'd like to lead it off?
I'll go. What can the advisors or mentors do to help? Is it just be available? Are there specific things that we can do to help both you and the recipients that are top of mind right now for you?
All right, recipients, time to speak up. Floor is yours.
Oh, this is gonna be easy, huh?
Well, let me give you some ideas. Since I'm probably the kupuna of all you guys, I went Kamehameha too, but back in 1979, probably before all you were born. So one of the things that I see is you got to continue this connection part, this networking, but then you got to kind of challenge yourself and get uncomfortable and really reach out to us to ask to meet or to say that you're interested in something so that we can help connect you to whoever is a part of, something that you're interested in. And then the next thing is you're going to have to meet with them and just start connecting. And what we can do is we could throw our net out there and start looking for those connections that will help you and your interests. And it doesn't have to only be in the tech field. It could be in marketing or it could be in anything else, but just that connection, use us to help broaden that, throw that net to see that if we can, further connect you with other folks. So that's one area that I can recommend. I'm sure others can recommend other things too.
I can add to that, Kaipo. So I think I second that, and I would say that one thing that I learned, I don't know, I graduated from college a dozen years ago now. But I remember when I was going to college, and I went for engineering, they would say, oh, you're gonna get all your jobs from networking and meeting people. And then I didn't believe that at all, because I used to think I don't know, if you just study, my resume, my good grades or whatever will work. Having been in now working for a decade or so, I can tell you that all of my jobs have come from networking. And so whoever said that, I don't remember who, was right. And so I think the networking piece is really underrated, especially people that are in STEM. They think, it's about the numbers and the math in school. And I think that is true, but there's a component to networking and just meeting folks and getting to know them and hearing people's stories that is really important. And then the other thing that I didn't realize is that the mentors want to help you, right? I don't know, I don't want to speak for everyone, but like I think we all want to hear from you, and like we all want to hear your story and like hear how we can help you and plug you in and stuff. And so I wouldn't ever feel like ashamed or like nervous about reaching out or asking for things, because I think we all feel like we all think that we've gotten a lot of benefit from people who are older than us that might have helped us in our careers and in our life and job. And I think, I don't know, I feel a sense of duty to sort of pay it forward back, whichever way, also. And so I want to hear everyone's story and how you guys are doing and where we can all help. So kind of just adding to a lot of things Kaipo said.
That's awesome. Okay, so on Kaipo's note, I called Noah the wild card here because he truly is the wild card. But for everyone else, you are listed in this link I just pasted in the Zoom chat. You're either going to be on the advisor tab or on the scholarship recipient tab, depending on which year you got into the scholarship. Underutilized in my opinion. Maybe it's not the right format. I don't know. But everyone's contact info is in there along with any kind of notes I could think of each person. All of you should have edit rights to that Google Doc, or at least one of your email addresses does have edit rights to it. So I just wanted to throw that out there again. Noah was a guest of Donovan Kealoha, who's in our advisor network. And we are hoping he applies to our scholarship, but he is still a senior in high school. So Noah's our wild card. We hope to have him in our program soon. So just more background on that. Actually, Teza, would you mind sharing with the group so we can kickstart some of this? The question you asked me at our December winter networking event at the Pacific Club?
Was it like a question in regard to pre-health?
Yeah, you had let me know you changed majors to pre-med, and if there was
anything medical related to
that's right.
Paubox.
And hey, we're in the HIPAA compliant email business, and we invited our customers to that event. So I went around the room and connected her with all our customers I could think of who were in the healthcare space. So to Rafe's point there, that to me is one of the two big ideas behind the scholarship. And what I mean by that are what are the trends that'll be true 5 years from now, 10 years from now? And as far as our scholarship goes, it's two big ideas: financial aid and access to our network. So I know with absolute certainty, 5 years from now, we could be doing a winter networking event for the scholarship, and exactly 0% of the recipients are going to come up to me and say, "Hey, man, really big fan of the Paubox Kahikina Scholarship, but could you give me less money?" Or, "Hey, I don't need to meet anybody, I'm good," right? So if we always know those things will be true, then we always know it's a good time to focus on those two areas. So I'm hoping these Zoom meetings, we want to do them quarterly, we'll spin out from there. But really it's an experiment since we're so geographically, separated during the school year. Another example, Taylor's girlfriend was there at our networking event along with Taylor. And she mentioned to me, "Hey, I wish I had this in high school. I took an advantage and I would have networked and, to Rafe's point, built my connections earlier." And then I said, "Could you hold on a couple minutes?" And we get that on camera, which is now in Dean's possession. We're editing all our Zoom clips, our video clips from that event. So yeah, that just some tie-ins there on some of the big ideas behind the scholarship. But I think I'm talking too much here. I'd like to hear the scholarship recipients talk. No shame, guys. Let's go. What's your questions?
Hey, sorry, I gotta jump off, but I just want to leave you with this. You guys all are amazing, hearing all where you're from, where you're going, what you're doing. I commend you for all your accomplishments so far. And in order to, like, Rafi was saying, reach out to the advisors. We're here for you. We've taken our time out in this day to come and see you guys. And we are obviously here because we want you guys to succeed in life. And I'll tell you right now that it's all about networking. You can be in your books all the time and learning all these little facts and statistics or whatever you want to learn from a textbook, but you come and ask us and we'll put you in the right path. We have the connections, we have we've been doing this a long time, and I know when you're young, you're scared, like a shame, like don't be shame, reach out to us, we're here for you. So, and congratulations, Huala, on the newborn. So, but anyway, I'm really sorry I have to jump off, but if anybody wants to reach out to me, yeah, go to the Google Doc and just connect. But good luck, everybody. Hopefully I can be on another one.
Follow sure up. We'll keep you in the loop. Thank you.
Take care. Bye.
Aloha. All right, I'm gonna start picking on people. Koa, you're up. What's your question? You got everybody here.
How do you where can you find cheap rent in the Bay Area? Because I might be working in the Bay Area this summer. So where can you find somewhere to live?
It's a good one. Where is the office?
It might, I don't know, I'm not sure yet, but it might be like either Palo Alto or like Santa Clara area, Santa Clara County.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, cheap, ooh, wow. Drawing a blank. Taylor?
Yeah, cheap and
Right.
living in the Bay Area are two things that don't mix well. I mean, I do know that, I mean, and obviously your circumstances may influence this, but buddying up definitely doesn't hurt. If you can find roommates to live with. I joke with my girlfriend when I moved to the Bay Area that I was her first roommate, effectively. Another thing is yeah, I don't know. It's really tough. It's a super competitive spot to find rent for. But I guess if you have the luxury of time, if you have friends, if you have family that live up here that have a spare couch for you to crash on, sometimes being able to look while you're here versus look online before you get here and just like make calls and try to lock something in before your feet hit the ground. I think having a place that you can go and spend time, visit, check out the spots will definitely benefit you versus showing up and finding out that it looks nothing like it does in the photos. But yeah, good luck. Bay Area, oh, it's a tough one.
You could also look at like some of the universities around have non-student housing, so like you could live in the dorms and stuff for the summer. That might be a cheaper option. Yeah, Facebook Marketplace. And if you want like furnished rentals and stuff, like there's companies called like Blue Ground or Zeus Living that you can do like 1 month plus rentals that are not like Airbnbs and stuff, that cater more towards like working professionals and stuff. So depending on kind of your job or internship or whatnot that you're doing.
Is it a paid internship, Koa?
Yeah, it's for Amazon, but it's either in Seattle or Bay Area. So I don't know yet.
Nice.
But
Congrats.
mahalo. Yeah, we gotta find our own housing. So I don't know. Hopefully I can find a roommate, but then I don't know. It's a good idea to definitely, if it's gonna be in the Bay Area, I should check it out now, like while I'm still on campus. It's a good idea.
Do you know where if you go to Seattle, do you know where the Amazon office is that you would have to go to?
I think it's probably in Bellevue.
Okay. So I lived in Seattle for about 15 years. So I'm very familiar with the area. So if you want to look at Seattle as an option, feel free to reach out. It would certainly be cheaper.
Got it. Sounds good. Thank you.
speaking of internships, Bo and his department at Punahou did a internship with Alyssa Lyman a couple years ago, who was on the last deck of the presentation. So that was cool. Thanks for doing that, Bo. I think it was a cybersecurity internship over the summer, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
Correct. Yep. Yeah,
Awesome.
we're always open to doing stuff like that. We don't really have a formal program for it, but if somebody expresses interest, we'll figure out a way to do it.
That's great to know. Okay, I'm moving on the squares. Logan, you're up. What's your question?
Well, all right. Okay, I want to know, let's see, best tips for like getting hired like right after graduating college, like with not like tons of experience, just like internships.
So I'll jump in here. My advice would be to find companies that you want to work for and try to find a job, even though it's not a direct fit for what you want to do long term, to get your foot in the door at that company and start impressing people at that company. And then when opportunities come along that are a better fit for what you want to do long term, you'll have an advantage.
Logan, do you know what you want to do? Like broader with life, like directionally, like is there a specific area or problem that you're trying to solve?
Well, I want to eventually come home. Probably might be in the Bay Area for a little bit, but yeah, probably come home, boy, work. Yeah, I'm not totally sure. There's not too much tech around, but um, I'm gonna be interning on KS's endowment this summer, so that should be pretty fun.
But like within tech specifically, or within like the broader like.
Mm-hmm. I'll probably start off as I might, I don't know, software engineering or yeah.
Gotcha. Do you have an area within like software engineering that like back end, front? I mean,
Most probably back end. Yeah.
gotcha. Yeah, it's a little bit, at least in my experience, and I'm not an engineer, but I always, typically recommend starting with either like a broader problem that you want to build and focus on. And it's really hard. Like I think a lot of us don't know until we're 10, 15, 20 years sometimes in our careers what that is. Some people know from when they're a lot younger. Or a very specific deep skill set to get really good at, and kind of think about it like almost like the barbell curve, not necessarily the barbell curve meme, but on those two ends of like I always just recommend find the specific problem or area that you want to focus on, because you'll compound over working on that for a decade, or find a specific area and just dive deep into that. And that sometimes, especially on the engineering end, will be across maybe across various types of companies, but on a specific area within it, right? Like ML engineering and so forth within applied to various problem sets. So I at least, again, I don't mean to go on, but that's one of the things that I think regret early on, was I kind of hopped around to a lot of different areas trying, 'cause I didn't know what I wanted to do, instead of like focusing on one thing and building deep domain expertise over 10, 15, 20 years on that. Hual is a great example of what to do, for example, here.
We'll see. We'll see. All right, I'm moving on. Teza, your turn.
Hi. So I kind of had this might be like more of a personal question, but I have been like thinking a lot about like wanting to move home, like throughout my whole college career. And it's just like, it's been a big part of my decision to like choose a career too. That's like in part why I decided to switch to like a more medical focus, because there's just like a higher demand for people working in healthcare than chemical engineers, specifically in Hawaii. And like I definitely still have a very strong interest in the things that I can do with my chemical engineering degree. And I would like to explore that, but it's just been a very difficult decision for me in that I'm not sure, like, does that mean that I postpone coming home for like another 10 years so that I can explore that part of like my intellectual curiosity, or do I like just commit to a career that I know will bring me home, that like I may not be quite as excited about? I'm not sure. And I just would like to know, I know someone mentioned like wanting to bring more students back home following college, and I just want to know like what more of like the appeal to move home when there's just like so many more opportunities, especially when it comes to like engineering, I think, on the mainland. Just any advice you may have in my navigating of this decision.
Well, I think, Tish, one thing that I guess limited my own mindset coming out of school, and that was a long time ago, is, looking at what's available versus what is the possibilities. Creating opportunities in Hawaii, I think, is more important now than coming to a job to Hawaii. We need chemical engineers. We need the ability to, use your thought process as a chemical engineer to solve other problems in Hawaii. Go ask your dad, right? He knows all about the needs of why we need engineers here in Hawaii. So just, like even, Logan's question, how do you get your first job? It really is, what are you interested in first, right? Are you interested to come home? Are you interested to make a lot of money? Are you interested to solve a significant problem that Michael was talking about that you want to go zero in? It really is about thinking of the opportunities and the possibilities, and then finding connections to figure out a way to get to those possibilities. I limited myself. I didn't even know what a nuclear engineer was. But I limited myself thinking that that's all I could do. But, I told my wife, we're not going to get rich, but we're going to live in Hawaii. And I worked for the Department of Defense for 38 years, and I'm still living in Hawaii. So and that was my goal, just to live at home and eat. So it really depends on your goal, but think of the possibilities. Don't limit yourself of what it is now. Think of it of what it could be. That's just my advice.
Thank you.
Something I just want to acknowledge, after living here and getting to know my community in the Bay Area, that the fact that we all have this pull to move home is actually something kind of special. After chatting with folks, it's like, oh, what? When your family's in Pennsylvania, you're going back, and it's like no interest whatsoever. And and I really don't have an answer to your question explicitly, but I just want to like make you feel okay in that feeling that you're going through, because we really have something special in the connection to Pai'aina, the like family we have, such a beautiful place to go back to. So if no answers or no closure, but just maybe a sense of just understanding where you're coming from, is like it's a totally normal place, and we're all kind of trying to figure it out because of that pull back home.
And don't get me wrong, Tasha, my two daughters live in the mainland now. Their careers in Los Angeles, both of them. So they miss home, but their goal was they wanted to raise a family and enjoy their job, what they're doing now. So, and there's time.
Hey, Kavehi, you're up.
I guess I was interested in ocean bit because I guess my focus is more towards sustainability. Even though I'm more focused in aquaculture, I've definitely looked into energy as another sort of avenue to go down. So I guess I was just wondering, or have a question for Michael about um I guess what Ocean Bit does. I know it's OTech and stuff like that. But like what I guess what you guys are doing at the moment or what stage the company is in at the moment.
Yeah, great question. And I heard that earlier and I figured that we would probably connect at some point. I should have worn the blue t-shirt as well and not the Chinese for the ocean and not the Chinese lunar red. Yeah, so ocean thermal, if you're familiar with it, has been around for a long period of time, but there's been some economic challenges with it. And so we're really focused on cracking the economic and some of the final technical barriers that remain. And we do that by using technology and specifically data center technology to make the thermal conversion process more efficient and be able to monetize 100% of the power production. Our longer, kind of bigger vision goal is a network of these power plants globally that provide clean 24/7 on-demand energy to the blue economy. So if you think aquaculture, you think decarbonizing the offshore industry, you think island nation states and giving them energy sovereignty and independence, and compute power at the same time, which is going to be the fastest growing sector and industry for this century. That's really our focus. We are angel investor backed and then off the balance sheet of our founders. We are going to be later this year raising a small seed round and developing out our first testing site at the Natural Energy Laboratory on the Big Island to actually have something that people can come out and kick. And doing that and at the same time doing the other work that you do of building this type of business and developing commercial pipeline, developing continual kind of technical and IP advancements and so forth. So hopefully that answers your question. I know that was really broad, but I want to kind of hit everything. If you have anything specific and follow up, please let me know.
I don't know. Thank you for sharing. That was really cool. I guess I don't know. I'm just trying to get myself out there because I've applied for other internships, but I don't know if you guys have opportunities. That'd be cool to learn if I could get involved.
Would love to talk. I'm gonna drop you I think I have my personal email and the doc. I'll drop you my work email on here and just shoot me over a text and happy to talk at any time. Or shoot me over email, set up a text message.
Thank you. And Rafe, I'll definitely try to hit you up and so we can meet. Thank you for sharing.
And let's go on to Noah, our prospect.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me right now, not necessarily a dilemma, but something maybe really any and all of you guys could give your advice on is just like, how should I view going into this summer, right? Because I'll be going into my freshman year in college, and I've been kind of like thinking, okay, right now it's February, should I start reaching out to companies and people to look for an internship over this summer, which I've done the past 2 years in sophomore year. I've been doing internships over the summer, or should I like use this summer as a way to like kind of relax a little bit and like enjoy my time in Hawaii, because I know I'm probably not going to come back here for a while, at least most of my time in college, other than like holidays. Or like should I try to like work over the summer and like kind of stay on the curve? Just something I've been like trying to contemplate and figure out.
One thing that I know just from my exposure to Asia, my girlfriend's work, where she works in early in career, is kind of the internship cadence that kind of leads to the on-ramp to getting hired at companies. They often start like your junior summer is really when you're like you should make sure you have something your junior year for sure. So that when your senior year rolls around, you have another one rolled like, all situated. I don't want to discourage you if you're like, it sounds like you're down to just like get the wheel spinning, I guess, for yourself as far as your career and everything's concerned. But I think another thing, I don't know, I like still surf after work. Sometimes I like surf before work too. I surf here. It's like 50 degrees. I make it happen. But like I have a strong pull on kind of like balance being a part of what keeps me going and how I've been able to sustain what I do. So yeah, it's your last summer. I remember that summer, the grad parties. I like had cash from my grad party. So like I was able to, it was so fun. That summer was like the summer. So all that to say, no pressure on that either. If it's mellow, perfect. But I, I would encourage you to just live it in that you have, as long as it sounds like you got it, like you'll get your internships when they start rolling around come college. But I don't know. Yeah. I don't know if that's the advice I should be saying, but I think it could make sense to approach it with embracing your time at home.
Taylor, I will share, due to our financial constraints here at Paubox funding the scholarship, it's attracted overachievers to be our recipients, and Noah's no exception. So that's the crowd we have with us, just alpha super overachievers. And someday I hope to grow the scholarship to include folks like me who got a 3.2 GPA in high school. But right now we're talking about 4.2s. So that's the cohort we have here, which is pretty exciting to be associated with. But yeah, I screwed up my summer. Oh my goodness. I was not thinking about internships.
I think I recall when we talked at your tech fair that you organized that you wanted to get into entrepreneurship, I think afterwards, right? This might be the summer that you just go ask other entrepreneurs if you can shadow them or just hang with them. No shame. You might not get paid, but you can go beach in the morning and go shadow them and, just understand what they do as entrepreneurs. And if you need help connecting, let us know. I mean, there's so many out there that want to help, especially Native Hawaiian entrepreneurs. I tell you right now, they're reaching out to figure out how can we help. And you've seen them at your tech fair that you organize, right? Go contact them. Say, yeah, I like check out what you're doing this summer. So, but I gotta go with Taylor. Enjoy it because it's gonna be a grind. I mean, so go enjoy it. But this might be an opportunity that you can learn. There's no such thing that you can have fun and learn. That's got to be independent. You can learn and have fun same time. You may not get paid, but you can learn.
If I could quickly follow up on both of those, I love that idea from Kaipo. I think that you have the time to do that now. And this is something that I looked back at doing like later when I was in intern periods of my career. And it's very hard to do it once you kind of are adulting, for lack of better words. and if you have that time to go out and do the interesting stuff, if you read like Phil Knight, the founder of Nike, a lot of these people, they went out and they did these experiences. Typically speaking, though, they do them, you know, when they are a little bit younger, and it's just one of these things where it's the world is imperfect that way. When you have the energy when you're young to do that, it's better. And by the way, people are going to be a lot more receptive now versus doing it, you know, mid-career and so forth. On the Taylor note, I would just say that I would say find those things that you love and build them in now. Like I grew up Sandy's beach boy, and I'm having and working out and training jiu-jitsu, all of that stuff, and I'm having to build that in after having lost a lot of those habits by just being 100 hours a week for a decade. And they're really hard to build in, again, when you're older. And so have the fun, find the routine and so forth that's going to sustain you, not necessarily over a 2-year period, not even a 10-year period, but that you want to do for the rest of your life, and build that in and take advantage of building those habits now. And the habits that feed that side that isn't in front of the computer.
Thank you. I know it's kind of loud. I don't know if you can hear, but thank you. Yeah, for all that advice. 'Cause, yeah, it's something that I've just been like kind of thinking of, and you know, like Kaipo, I know you mentioned my entrepreneurship interest, and like that's something too. Is like, you know, should I like, you know, use this summer and like, you know, try to like build something, or you know, test something out, just trying to like get experiences too, as well. So.
Oh, thanks for joining. You know, Bo couldn't make the December networking event, but he reached out and let me know that he wanted to participate in other ways. So I'm happy we could do that with Bo here on the Zoom. So I think that one of the central themes is there's a lot of folks out there wanting to help. So thanks, Bo. Thank you.
Yeah, hopefully we'll talk soon.
Yep. Sounds good. All right. So the invite was for 90 minutes, just kind of a guess. We don't have to go the whole hour and a half. We're coming up on 1 hour. We could call it a day, or we can keep going. Happy to keep going, but scholarship recipients, we need some feedback, man. We need you guys to speak up and ask more questions.
I can ask another question. I was wondering, so for how important is a college GPA for getting your first job? Because like I don't know, there's a couple of tests that like I don't know, like I could study for them, but like I don't know, like is it worth it? Could I just get away with like a little lower GPA? I don't know. That's all. That's my question.
Weren't you a 4.0 in high school?
Yeah, but college is yeah, I don't know. I'm not working as hard as I was in high school for sure.
So you thinking 3.9?
Yeah, like I don't know, 3.5 maybe.
What's
I
the
remember reading your application, Koa. I was very impressed. Sorry, someone else was speaking.
No, I was gonna ask like what's the opportunity cost of doing school? Like what's the alternative that you have planned? If not like from the
Or
standpoint, okay, I'm not gonna go get the 4.0, I'm gonna go, or the degree, I'm gonna focus on this other thing that I want to build, or time in another area.
yeah, maybe like I don't know, like go to like a hackathon instead of studying or like something like that. Like doing other like maybe going to like a STEM event or something. Yeah.
Yeah. Is that gonna negatively affect you getting the perfect GPA or?
No, I mean like it's like I don't know, like a 3.5, is that like good enough to get like a job? Or do you have to be higher in order to be like competitive? Like is that like a big thing for like getting hired, your GPA? Or
I'm probably not the best person to ask because I look a lot less at that and didn't go to top tier. I was Joel and I are probably more similar than I am to you folks. I would say that I typically I think nowadays we're moving more into a portfolio or project based hiring cycle of what people are gonna look at, especially if you're coming from a engineering or depend not just engineering, but the backgrounds are they're the cost to deploy, whether it be product or build community, is a lot lower now. So if you have a 3.0 or you dropped out, but you built a product, built a company, built a massive community, did something really interesting, is probably more important. But that's where I'd look at the really the opportunity cost. And I don't think you need to come to a hard decision. See if you can do both and do it. But I wouldn't get married to the concept of having a 4.0. You could take, you know, your nights and go out and network like Kaipo recommended or like other people recommended, meet these great people, and they're probably going to have a much bigger impact than that 0.5 you know, that 500 basis or 50 basis points, half of one. Sorry, I can't talk right now. It's been a long day. Half of one, you know, difference, right?
yeah.
You have to assume that everyone that you're competing against kind of have good grades, good all of, you know, that type of stuff.
Yep, sounds
I'm
good.
not
Sounds
a
good.
good example because I'm not like a traditional hiring manager at a big tech firm.
Well, I think
So
Kaipo's
what was
hired the most people here of anyone on this Zoom. Kaipo, what do you think?
Yeah, and I'm kind of unique because I hired mostly for government work. So a high school degree, I mean a college degree was required. The grade point average depend how much you got paid. So I'll give you my example. I went to college. I got hired from at the shipyard, Pearl Harbor. Before going into my last semester, into my senior year, and I had like a 3.2 average or something like that. And then so that qualifies you as a GS7, and when you get hired as a nuclear engineer. So I decided to have fun my final semester since I was hired. And lo and behold, my grade point average went below 3.0. And that dropped me down 2 scale, GS to GS5, the lowest scale you can be on an engineer scale when you get hired. So, so when we hired, we looked at, you know, definitely the degree, but we looked at both. You know, what did you do? Were you a well-rounded individual and not just a 4.0 student and had, you know, did no community service, was not involved in any of the, you know, things that, you know, you can learn and grow. So we even in the government, we look for kind of creative and unique individuals, but we did, you know, and I think more private industry kind of looks at what are your accomplishments besides school. So that's just my opinion, and that's just from my experience. And to tell you the truth, once, you know, my engineers got in, when I was hiring managers, I never did go back and look at, you know, I never did go back and look at their college grades and when I'm hiring them to be department heads or division heads. So it really is about getting in.
Okay, I think I have more context here after looking at that link Logan posted. So Cole, are you saying this tree hacks thing starts at midnight tonight, and if you enter it, you will not be going to class tomorrow on a Friday? Is that your question?
something like that? I don't know, something like that.
Okay. Okay. That's pretty neat. Dude, you should do it, man.
I
A
don't know, yeah, I
CTO
probably will.
OpenAI is gonna be there. What the heck?
I know that's gonna be pretty sick.
Oh my
That's pretty
God,
sick.
the headliner. It's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And go to class. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I just want to kind of like echo a situation that I went through in college. There was basically I had made a decision to attend a video conference, not like this kind of video conference, but like a conference for the television camera hardware in Vegas. It's called NAB. It's still kind of big nowadays too. And I had to make a call. I had a paper due for my business marketing class that was effectively going to determine if I would be able to major in marketing. I did not get the grade I needed to major in marketing. However, and this is all hindsight, I didn't know this at the time. Because I had went the direction of going to this event, it opened up my eyes to like what was out there in the world. I like saw the LED screens that you now see on like the stages of major concerts. Back then, this was like 15 years ago. And it just like, if I hadn't gone, I don't think I would have been as inspired to get into video. That's what I do now. I'm in video today. Like, I don't know. It's hard to give this advice because you don't know. I didn't know the opportunity cost of what I was making when I was making that decision, but it was like sometimes it's like you just got to follow the feeling, and like the key thing is making it count too. If you're gonna follow the feeling, you better like don't just show up and wait for someone to raise their hand, or if anyone's looking for a group and you sit quietly in the corner, it's like if you're making a decision to participate in this event, like go full on into it, right? That's the way you do it. And you're gonna make some decisions, like, you know, and all this advice could be wrong. You could end up like getting a bad grade. The event wasn't fun, but like it's just about risk assessment and just kind of like committing to the call. Yeah.
One is you can always default to what you're gonna have the most fun doing as well too. That's not a bad way to live life also.
Can I hear like examples of moments in your career where you knew that like this is what you were meant to be doing, or what you realize that you're doing something that makes you really happy?
I think that's a really good question, Tisha. It took a while to really understand that, you know, what I was doing, I really enjoyed, and it wasn't the work. It eventually became the people. And because I really enjoyed the people and the relationships, the work was kind of secondary. I mean, our mission was really important. It wasn't hard for me to get connected to the mission. And it was interesting, and I love solving problems. And that's what, you know, one of the things that I was thinking, man, I didn't do a lot of calculus in my career. I didn't do a lot of chemistry in my career, you know, that the equations, but I did a lot of problem solving, and that was all about engineering. But it was the people. And I would say, depending on whatever career you take, if you you know you're not aligned with that organization's values, and there's other people not aligned with those organization values, probably want to go find another place to go have a career. But it was the people, and it was the alignment with the organization values.
Thank you for your answer.
Can I jump in and answer that one as well? I know I've been mostly an observer here, but I've had an extraordinarily untraditional approach into startups, having been a musician first and foremost with no marketable skills whatsoever at all, completely broke all the time, waiting tables, and then got fired and joined a startup, and we absolutely crushed it. But what happened when I realized it's got to do with being proud of the work you're doing at any given moment, it matters a lot less what you're doing than that you're doing it really freaking well, such that you're proud of yourself at the end of the day. And then you find you like a whole lot more things than you thought you'd care about and that you'd like. And it meant that kind of weird, like jobs that seem boring, if you're doing them well and just like excelling at that, it opens up so many more opportunities that you'd never ever consider, because you can't know what you're going to be good at and you can't know what you're going to really like. There's a billion kinds of jobs and sub jobs and etc. out there. So my advice is worry less about what you're meant to do and just do as well as you can at whatever is in front of you.
That's really great. You probably felt valued too, Dean.
Yeah.
Even, you know, the self-value. I really like that.
I just wanted to chime in. You know, it's this idea of burnout being a thing. I have been very fortunate to end up in an environment where I legit love what I'm doing. And they let me code when I want. I get to do design when I want. I found this really cool middle ground where it's I'm just being creative and I just get to do it. Like, how sick is this? Like, I get paid to do this, like that. Yeah. And yeah, I don't know. I don't know how I ended up here. It was like a lot of luck maybe, but just the idea of burnout being a thing, it's like there'll be nights where I work late, but because I love it, I don't mind it, you know? And having found that kind of flow, whatever it is, has been kind of my strongest signal of, oh, I'm in the right spot, because I look around and I'm like, guys, like, do people realize how sick, like how cool this is, you know? How to find that is the hard part though, of course. And then I think the others had good advice on that.
Yeah, I would add in there, I think like it will probably take, if you're lucky enough to know, like the sooner you know, obviously, like the better, I think generally, but most people it takes a really long time. And if you look back, you can kind of piece it together. I think whether it be in 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 2 years from now, whenever that is, I think it was all kind of when I look back, at least it was all evident that I'm in the spot that I was called to be in. I do think that there in a couple of the pieces of advice here, I think you want to find something that you're good at, and that also that you have broader alignment with. And it's also dependent on whether you want to start your own thing or whether you want to kind of be an employee. I mean, that factors into the weighting as well. It's a really good question, which makes it really hard to answer, and give you, we never want to give bad advice, right? We want to give good, but I think if you can find something that you're naturally great at, and I think going back to what you said specifically, I'm a chemical engineer. This is kind of what I want to work on. I'm putting in a backup path or another path just to make sure I have coverage. But if you can find that alignment of, hey, I want to be based and contributing in Hawaii and have a family here with that, I really love and am great at being a chemical engineer. Finding the intersection of the 2 points is going to give you more fulfillment, right, than almost anything else. And that's how I typically look at it. You have people that are working at something that they're so good at, but in maybe a horrible broader direction, or pointed in a great direction. This is like the person that's working on something really interesting, the investment banker who's working on in a really big industry but hates it and wants to be a musician, or vice versa. And you never want to get caught there. It's a horrible way to live life. You get one on this earth. So I would look really hard at those two and then try to approximate off of the two. And even if it doesn't happen overnight, just work towards them. Yeah, hopefully that's helpful. I could go into personal experience, but it's a kind of a long, weird roundabout story that I don't want to bore anyone with. But it when you know it and you see it, it's like one of those things that you'll feel it in the gut.
Yeah,
Sorry.
all for your responses. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. No.
No, go ahead and ask after.
Oh, I just had a follow-up question. It might be kind of a long one, so you can go ahead.
Oh, okay. No, I was just gonna say, it's funny that you kind of mentioned that, Michael, because I was like just messaging Dean right now, because he mentioned he was a musician, and I was like, kind of basically what I was kind of telling him was that I have this like pool to like be more creative and like pursue something more artistic, but also like the pool to like do something more career wise. And I'd love to like hear your story on like figuring out what you chose, or how to know like what to choose. Not necessarily like right now, but some other time if you could.
Yeah. I mean, I can even give you the 15-second version is I think the broader mission that I have in life outside of like faith and family is really focused on how do we turn Hawaii into a global leader. We know that energy is critical, the most critical human input, and that compute is the future. And while I didn't have really any background outside of Silicon Valley in the areas that I'm working on, I have a background in pulling together great engineers and helping build businesses around them. So we can talk more about that, but it's like, again, it's not always going to be, I would look at maybe one or two intersecting paths. And for you specifically, if you have maybe more of a music or creative focus, frankly, we probably live in one of the more interesting times for that with what's happening within generative AI, and some of these other fields to really combine the two. So we can definitely chat up more. I don't have a firm playbook because life is dynamic, but that's generally how I kind of think about it. And like, the Hawaii, like you want to have that feeling in your now, right, like deep in, but you aren't always going to have that right away. Sometimes it takes some probing.
Okay, I'll go ahead and ask my follow-up question. I can get a little bit more specific about my interest within chemical engineering, and they're still like, sorry, it might be a little loud right now, but they're still like within medicine. And so like I'm mainly interested in working for like biopharma companies or like biotech. And that's something like I've had a lot of conversations with my father about this, like how there's no industry for like people interested in pharma or biotech specifically. And like, of course, he's like, just create the industry. Like there's nothing stopping you, but there's like a lot of barriers to entry when you're trying to introduce an industry to Hawaii, especially. And I think that takes a certain type of entrepreneurialism that I'm not really sure that I possess, or if I like even have the motivation to fully commit to. Because like I'm excited about like the science behind it, but if I'm going to also be responsible for like contributing to bringing an industry to Hawaii, it's huge. I have to understand the business. I have to understand like the market, and I just don't know how I would even go about that. And like I assume it takes a lot of people. You have to create a team, and that's what where you get like people of different skill sets from, but I have no idea how to find the entrepreneurial spirit to do perform such a huge task of bringing an industry to Hawaii.
Another, such an awesome question, Tasha. And I tell you, a lot of you folks struggle with that because you are experts you will be experts in certain areas, and you may not have that expertise in other areas. And that's why even Native Hawaiian organizations, that's why in Native Hawaiian organizations, even we have joint ventures because we want to bring in the experts into our organization. And we, some Native Hawaiian organizations already have a foundation of entrepreneurship, and maybe we want an expert in biochem and get something started. So that's why we got to start that connection. And that, in fact, I'll call your dad, and me and him will start thinking of ways to get that, because I think that's how we gotta do it in Hawaii, because we're gonna have these expertise in certain areas, and we got more and more, we got to do joint ventures. More, in my opinion, more and more, we got to collaborate more and more. We got to cross fields, in my opinion. And I think what you are bringing up is you're not alone in that. And so I think we need to kind of work some of that here, maybe create that energy or that opportunity here, so that more of you folks who ask those questions, we can point you to those directions. But in my opinion, it needs to be more of these joint ventures. But that's so excellent, because I think that's the way we got to get going.
One thing I just want to bring up is so a part of something I'd mentioned was in part organizing the Hawaiians in Tech community. And the reason why we did it, like, you have, API and within Amazon, we have like solid organizations that help facilitate this within the company. I don't need to do it. It's funded. There's an executive paying for it, and it's all good, But the reason why we wanted to do it, why we chose to do our own thing, was because we wanted to kind of broaden our scope to see cross company, especially because Hawaiians, there's only so much of us, right? Broadly speaking. And what it taught me, and this is what I'm trying to get to, is that there are an immense number of talented Hawaiians working across the world. Like, we have people from UK, Japan, across the world. And and everyone I talk to has this story of wanting to come home. Not everyone, but most of everyone. So something tells me there's this like thing that needs to happen of chatting amongst our community, and outside of it, of course, too, I think is another thing to acknowledge. But even within, like, because that pull that we feel others have, that will lead to, I think, the energy that it takes to make it happen at home. So yeah, I don't know. I think it's in part just basically getting back to that networking thing again, but in a context that leads to, yeah, finding business partners that want to be at home. It's like, that is like my next like 2 to 3 years, by the way, if that bias is showing, like, that is what I want to do. That's my mission.
Just so everybody knows, Tasha used to be my neighbor. That's why I know her father. And he's the dean of the College of Engineering at University of Hawaii.
Do you guys think there's like a right time to come home, or like just kind of as soon as possible? I don't know, when the opportunity presents itself.
I think it's depending. I moved home to 2021, and there was some family stuff that I had to come out here. We had California was shut down at that point, so I'm like, okay, if we're gonna be shut down, I want to be shut down near the beach. I'm not as brave as you, Taylor. I think I did 8 years with only surfing during the winter when I came home for Christmas. So It really is like dependent. What I would say is a lot of people kind of sleepwalk through their time on the mainland and come up and they have that, oh, I want to come home, I'm going up here and then I'm going to come back, and then over time they almost lose their connection and lose that desire, and stuff is easier on the mainland, right? What Kaipo was saying about building here, it's like we have to do that or else we're gonna have a linear future unless we start doing some of this new stuff. And so a lot of people, they'll go up and they aren't very clear about what the objectives are when they're there and have like checklists. You don't even need to be that detailed, but like, okay, I want to go up, I want to go spend 10 years working in tech or 5 years or go get my degree and then come back home, but have an idea of what that is. And then when the timing is right, I think you can come back. I'd say the biggest thing is typically people having kids, right? Like they want to come back when you have kids and have a family. But that's going to differ for every individual. And I would think hard, not on a macro kind of general concept rule across the board, but specific for my individual life and what I want to do back home. What are those things that I can gain back on the mainland? And then what's the proper transition point coming back? And maintain the ties back home too while you're up. That's something I did a really poor job at myself, and I'm having to kind of rebuild, you know, the network back here on the ground. I kind of lost touch a little bit. But I think on all of the general advice, just as that we all are gonna give, you have to take some of it, like take the principle driven stuff, but really internalize it for yourself and think hard. If it was just kind of simple maxims that we could give out, everyone would be be doing it and following it. So I would put that question back to you is like, what are if you're coming up to the mainland, what are those kind of things that you want to get on the mainland versus being back home in Hawaii?
No, thank you, thank you. Yeah, I guess I have no idea. That's why that's a good question and something I need to figure out.
And it can be as easy as money, right? Like I hate to sound, it may just be, hey, I have to go earn in the Bay Area so I can go put, you know, a down payment on, you know, a house back home. And that's not like a bad answer to that. It is. I think that's what drew a lot of us to originally move up to the Bay or wherever it was. But it's a really important question to ask. Because in 10 years, if you're just kind of sleepwalking in, you may not, you know, make it back. And we don't want that. We want all of you back as soon as possible. As soon as right, I should say, not possible.
Okay, we're coming up at 5:30 Pacific. I want to be respectful of everyone's time, so I'm gonna wrap it up. We're gonna send you folks a survey. We just want to know how to get better. That's the survey. So please fill it out. Be 1 or 2 question Google Sheet. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining. Just really flattered you folks spend time with us on this scholarship. Most of this stuff is an experiment in progress. No one's doing what we're doing, as far as I'm aware of. And I think that's what's going to put us ahead of the pack, because I want to build the best scholarship on the planet for Native Hawaiians. And the piece that's missing from either other scholarship is the network, right? Every other scholarship, like Logan, bro, I've seen your face on the news. I know you get your scholarships. Good for you, man. College is expensive. That's great. I saw a couple other recipients who didn't attend today on the morning news getting a scholarship from HMSA. That's awesome. Go get them. What I'm talking about is the network. And that's how we're going to be better than every other scholarship out there. So we got to keep doing this stuff. And you guys got to tell us how to get better. And that's the advisors and the recipients. I mean, heck, now we have a prospective recipient. We've never done that before. That's great, Noah, for following up. You hacked the system, man. This is awesome. I love it. So looking forward to reading your application this summer when it comes due. And thank you very much, everyone. Aloha.